Welcome to Daily Life Connection. As we continue to explore who God is, think about how that makes a difference in our daily lives. First of all, I want to apologize. The last several days I have not used my microphone. I hope you were able to crank the volume up high enough to be able to hear it. Sometimes I get excited about doing this and forget to plug in for you. Today I want to talk to you from Lamentations chapter 3, verse 22, about the steadfast love of the Lord. The verse says, it's one of my favorites. I love Lamentations 3:22. It's a little book we don't explore very often, isn't it? The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. That's a wonderful promise. It's a wonderful commitment from God to us, isn't it? Just an amazing thing. His trustworthiness, that He's always loving, always merciful, always kind, always forgiving, always gracious, always compassionate. The steadfast love of the Lord. So why is that so important? I think one of the reasons is if there is the slightest doubt, if there is a minuscule doubt that His love is steadfast, enduring, always eternal, if there is any hint of a question about that, then how can we ever be sure what kind of a God we're going to get when we come to Him? You know, if He's only 95% steadfast in His love for us, then 5% of the time that we present ourselves before Him in worship or prayer or whatever, we're going to find a God who's not steadfastly loving. It's really important that we understand and trust that His love is steadfast, the steadfast love of the Lord. I like the way the author in Lamentations puts it. He could have said the steadfast love of the Lord is great, and that would have been very true, because steadfast means it just does not change. You can count on it. You can bank on this. It's a steadfast love. But then he adds, never ceases, just in case we didn't get it, just in case we aren't sure. He's going, the steadfast love, this enduring, eternal love of God, which never changes, it is never going to change. It never ceases. There's not going, isn't that wonderful? There is never going to come a time in this life or the next when we will encounter a God who isn't loving us. I mean, the Apostle Paul said it in Romans chapter 8, didn't he? That nothing can separate us from the love of God, not life nor death. You see, if all of my life I'm living with an idea that some days God's kind of mad at me, some days God kind of loves me, some days God's disappointed with me, some days God wants to chastise me and punish me, some days God wants to get rid of me. If I'm living like that through my life, then when I come to the point of death, I'm going to wonder, what God am I going to see when I die? When I step into the threshold of eternity, what kind of a God presence am I going to step into? But if we are convinced and live in the steadfast love of God all of our days, no matter what our behavior, see, Paul said nothing can separate you from that love. His love for you is steadfast, and your behavior can't change that. Demonic forces can't change that. Bad choices can't change that. Nothing can change the reality that His steadfast love is yours and mine, and that's the characteristic of who God is, a God who loves us steadfastly, and that never ceases. So isn't it good to know that through this day, no matter what may come your way or what attitude may pop up in your little heart today, no matter what kind of things may go wrong for you today, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. an old chorus that goes, "The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases." Love that. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. Let's think about that today and just enjoy the fact that no matter what your condition, when you turn toward home, the Father's going to be there with a smile on his face, love in his eyes, and arms ready to hug and embrace you. That's who our God is, the steadfast, loving God. God bless you. We'll talk again tomorrow.